Well, thanks again. I know you're a busy person and you're busy building, and you've been dropping some news, so I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. So yeah, I'll just jump into it. So who is Joseph, or Cup of Joseph? And how did you get into Web3? I know you just did a podcast with Fet, which I'll also link in my show notes as well, so people can kind of get a really good story. But I'm probably going to be riffing a lot off of that podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did I get started in crypto? I prefer crypto over Web3. I used to say Web3 because you can talk about it in public without normies realizing what you're talking about. So Web3, great term, but I think for this audience, I really just call it crypto.
Yeah, crypto's fine.
Anyway, I haven't really seen anything in Web3 that isn't crypto that's like actually interesting. So, but other people can argue about that.
Yeah, so I let people figure it out, like the on-chain, is it with a hyphen or no hyphen? I'm like, man, just pick one.
So, yeah, for me, I was studying computer science in college, and I had a project with this girl that I liked, and she said, "Hey, have you heard about this thing, Ethereum?" And I'd never heard of it, but I just decided to learn Solidity over the weekend to impress her, and that's it. That's how I learned about Ethereum and got into it.
Love it, man.
So that was like 2017.
2017, that's good, man. Yeah, I got into crypto in 2012, so I've been around for
oh my god
for a hot minute.
You're still making podcasts?
I didn't start making content till recently, actually. So I actually just celebrated my 3-year anniversary of doing content. I had a blog post that I put it up. Yeah, thanks. And I kind of was reflecting on it. I was like, I've been in my feelings for about a week or two now, just like reflecting on this journey. And I mean, the TLDR on that post is really like, I get to meet new people and new ideas, and all of that's super exciting. And I would put you in there as well. Like in terms of, most people would be like, not another stablecoin. Oh, another thing on Arbitrum.
Oh, I would also say that. People come to me, Joseph, you made a new stablecoin despite there already being 1,000 stablecoins. Should I do one? And I say, no, I wouldn't wish this on anybody.
I know.
I wouldn't to start a stablecoin on my enemies.
Trust me, I thought about it sometimes. I was like, should we be making a stablecoin? I'm like in nouns, and I was telling someone, I was like, should nouns make a stablecoin? And I was like, nah, no. Screw that. So like, people from the outside looking in, we'll see that, and I'll say yours is different. You actually sent me down a pretty nice rabbit hole, one that I wasn't too familiar with, which now I feel like I need to research some more. So the things that got me into crypto were kind of like was DeFi originally. So like for me, I wasn't able to access traditional banking systems back in 2008 when I was trying to go to college. And when I found out about Bitcoin, I was like, dude, where was this when I needed it? Like I had to end up taking like a personal like loan from a friend, like a family friend to get myself through school. And I just think about like DeFi, and I'm like, man, like there's so many opportunities now. So that's what got me there. Definitely the immutable aspect of it. So Bitcoin being immutable, and then the decentralized aspect of it. So those are the things that always just call me. So I recently met with someone who did a token launcher, but it was all immutable. Once you launch it, it's done, which can be kind of scary, but it also has some positives. And so with you, what attracted me to Nerite specifically was I know that it's a Liquidy V2 fork now.
That's right.
But it sent me down the Liquidy rabbit hole. I had no idea that there was. Yeah, so it was freaking epic, man, because I've always loved the concept of Dai, and I know that you talked about it with Fet, where like I don't understand why we don't have, like, why it hasn't been fully embraced. Like everything's pegged back to the dollar, and I'm like, give me something that's pegged to. If you want. Yeah. Because like, I definitely want to talk to you about it. Like I've
made unpegged stablecoins before.
Yeah, like I want something pegged to something else. Like as an American or someone that lives in America, like I'm like, dude, I have enough USD exposure. Like give me ETH stablecoins, BTC. Like so, there's like USDH on Stacks protocol. That one I like, which is it's pegged to BTC essentially. So yeah. Anyways, let's talk about stablecoins. So why did you build another stablecoin?
Another one, right?
Another one, yeah. Even though, that's a softball. Like, for people that don't know what Nerite is, I wanted to explain why did you do this? Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I was working at ConsenSys when Dai launched, when Maker launched Dai, right? And that was like that was just like a huge moment because it was the first time that someone who is not connected to the government in some way, doesn't have a license, is creating a currency that actually, works. And it was also the first actually, I think, like peaceful stable currency because you have like USDC or USDT, before that, but they're backed by treasury bills, and treasury bills are like funding the United States war machine. And actually, like, making stable coins is like very useful, more useful than Bitcoin or Ethereum or other things that are like fluctuating in price for certain use cases. But it's also like the peaceful version of that. So that really appealed to me. And that was kind of, part of my journey to get here. But I've contributed to like quite a few other stablecoin projects. So you already mentioned Liquidy V2. And I actually started contributing to Liquidy V2, just working on open source stuff for them last year before Neurite launched, and took some of the inspiration and some of the tech from previous projects that I've done for unpegged stablecoins. So if you want like to get into like the history of that, and I actually think more people in crypto should know this and like know like what experiments and what things have already been done and what works and what doesn't. We started the first unpegged stablecoin was Reflexer issuing RAI, and that used a PI controller instead of a stability, basically pool, or instead of a hard peg. So let me ask you this. Why, you said you like Dai. Dai stays at $1. Why does Dai stay at $1?
The way that I interpret it back when I bought Dai in like 2019, I think. Mm-hmm. It's like a basket of assets, and it's like the dollar, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. And between those three, there might be something else, but from what I remember is from within those three, the price should kind of stabilize. Like if the dollar was going up, Bitcoin might go down, but if Bitcoin's going up and the dollar is losing its like value, then it kind of it equalizes.
Yeah, that's I guess one way like kind of to think about it. There's a bunch of individual loans. It's backed by ETH and USDC mostly now. And you've got all these like different things that are backed by. They're individual loans. Dai's over collateralized, so it's backed by this, combination of assets. But why does it trade at $1? Like why doesn't it fluctuate at all as the price of Bitcoin, fluctuates? And the real reason is the protocol values one Dai at $1. So if you take out debt, your debt is valued at $1 per Dai. When you pay back debt to the protocol, it's valued at $1 per Dai. Right, and that's basically true for Neurite, it's true for Liquidy, and every other US dollar pegged CDP protocol. And CDP stands for collateralized debt position. So Dai is an example of a collateralized debt stablecoin. And Reflexer was the first attempt in crypto and DeFi, to make a non-pegged stablecoin. And you can actually go look up how it performed against all these other like currencies. And you've got the Swiss franc that went way up compared to the dollar, and the euro down a little bit, and USDC the same. And RAI was the best. RAI was the best, most stable version. Like it was actually more stable than the euro and other currencies. And basically, it's really complicated, and I don't want to. I could spend the next hour trying to explain like the mechanism, but the protocol doesn't value RAI at any particular price. The price it values it at fluctuates based on market rates, and sometimes the price is going up, and sometimes the price is going down, and it's supposed to have the same value. So it dampens volatility on ETH. It was only backed by ETH. And by dampening volatility, it like maintains the same value, even if the price in dollars changes. So I think the original price was like 3.14. So it's trading at like $3.14. And then it just kind of like fluctuated around there. And RAI failed. Vitalik posts about it, or used to a lot, and put like $30 million into it at one point. But the mechanism for like maintaining stability was too confusing, and just like not a lot of people used it. It didn't have enough Ponzi-nomics or like number go up technology, so it never gained a lot of adoption. And now it's shut down, and they're working on RAI Dollar to make like a version 2 of that, kind of based more on Liquidy. And so we had this moment with RAI where it's not doing really well, but everybody says what you said. Everyone says, I wish there was a stablecoin that wasn't US dollar pegged, but there was, and you didn't know about it and you didn't use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
So there's a reason for that, because people don't want their debt in an asset that goes up in price, and it's just not as scalable. Right. So, I contributed to RAI. And then there's another like fork of RAI called Let's Get High, which is live right now.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, and so that's High, and High is awesome. Like, definitely check that out. It's on Optimism. It's still growing. It's got the High wheel, which is an incredible innovation in number go up technology. And I really like what they're doing. So they're also not pegged to $1, and the price just goes up like with inflation. It's just like an inflation stablecoin, so it just beats inflation and it makes money. So that's cool. And at the same time that High was being built, I was working on Open Dollar, which was another PI controller stablecoin not pegged to $1 that was designed to go up on Arbitrum. And we launched that a little over 18 months ago, in the beginning of 2024. So it got to like slightly less than 2 million TVL. And I still think it's actually the best designed stablecoin that I've ever seen. Like, it's better designed than Neurite. But it's also really hard to explain to people, because who wants to like learn about how PI controllers work? People want to put their money into something that they don't have to think about very hard, and number just goes up. You don't want to have to think about all these other things. So the mechanism was too complicated, and it's basically dead now. And that was Open Dollar. So that was like my previous stablecoin. And after Open Dollar kind of exploded, I didn't have like closure about how that went, because I just had spent like a year designing this stablecoin. And so I took some of the tech from Open Dollar and we put it into Liquidy. And so Liquidy V2, which, by the way, Liquidy V1 is rated as the #1 safest stablecoin in the world. Yeah. Even safer than USDC. It has a better safety rating by bluechip.org, which is a stablecoin rating agency. Yeah. It has a better safety rating than USDC or Tether, because it has this new feature called redemptions. So at any time, you can take one LUSD from Liquidy and you can redeem it for $1 worth of ETH at any time. So you can always get out of the stablecoin, even if there's no liquidity for it on Uniswap, or it's trading in the market at 1 cent each. You can always get $1 of ETH for your stablecoin, no matter what the price of ETH is. So that's pretty revolutionary. USDC, you cannot call them up at 2 a.m. on a Saturday and say like, hey, can I have one treasury bill for my $1 of USDC? They don't do that, No. Yeah. So this kind of redeemability stuff, and it's immutable, which you said earlier is like important to you, or one of the things that originally interested you in crypto. It's like this immutability. So Liquidy is really cool. I have really loved Liquidy. And I heard their V2 was coming out. It creates yield-bearing stablecoins, and it creates user set interest rates so you can borrow at whatever price, whatever interest rate that you want. And it also added tradable debt positions. So the debt positions are now NFTs, which is pretty cool. And that was a feature of Open Dollar originally. That's now part of Liquidy. And the other really cool thing that Liquidy V2 is doing is they have this licensing model where all the code is open source and it's free to read and it's totally available, and it's, you know, one of the most audited code bases of any like major DeFi protocol. And you can copy it and you can fork it on whatever chain you want, but you have to get a license from them because it's under a business license. And the license is like pretty cheap, but it's like insanely valuable, right? Because you have this license to this like very valuable code base. So when they were launching Liquidy V2, they came to me and said, Joseph, we really like your ideology around stablecoins and the work you did with Open Dollar, even though it didn't work. Do you want the license for Arbitrum? And I said, wow, someone's offering to give me something very valuable. I would be foolish not to do that. Yeah. And that is the like very long roundabout story about how Neurite came to exist. And so, yeah, then I just started working on Neurite, and there were a few other things that I always wanted out of a stablecoin that we can get into. But yeah, there's just like a few things I always wanted stablecoins to have that no one has ever really gotten around to. So I said, I'm just going to build, I don't know if anyone's going to use this. I'm just going to build what would the absolute ideal decentralized stablecoin look like. Yep. And I'm just going to build it, and I'm just going to make it from scratch based on Liquidy V2. Yeah. Now we're here, and we've got, you know, almost 10 million TVL with $0 in bribes and $0 in marketing spent, and no like under the table bribes to market makers or, you know, like any of the BS that most new DeFi protocols do. It's just kind of like really grassroots, and everybody seems really happy with how it's going so far. So yeah, I mean, you know, people are using it every day, and I love everyone who uses it. I'm like insanely grateful. And yeah, that's kind of like brings us to now. But I think the history, maybe it's boring to like ramble on about the history, but like I think it actually gives people a really good idea about like why are the features the way they are now, and like what brought us here.
Yeah, no, 1000%. I think all that history is definitely valuable, and I learned definitely a lot along the way, you know. So for context too, like for most of my listeners know, like I was actually like a BTC maxi for actually way too long. So I don't even have a lot of that Ethereum. Even though I was in the space early, I didn't have that early Ethereum exposure. Like I wasn't exposed to Ethereum. Like I heard about it, but to us it was like a shitcoin for the longest time, to be honest. So it wasn't until like
a lot of people. People are like, oh, Ethereum. Yeah, I mean, it's like a shittier version of Bitcoin. I heard it has smart contracts, but who uses those?
Exactly. 1000%.
It's like, dude, go look at the top 100 coins. Do you have a screen share? Can you pull that up?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Go on CoinGecko and look at the top 100 coins right now.
Let's go. Yeah, FYI, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi anymore. I got out of that world. That's why I don't understand tribalism either. Like when people are like, "Oh, I don't mess with like a new chain or something," I was like, "Hey, man, I've done that
just
already."
Play with it. Yeah. So number one, Bitcoin. Number 2, Ethereum. Number 3, Ripple. Who the primary driver of value for Ripple right now is that they are building a clone of Ethereum that uses the EVM.
Yeah.
And they're making a EVM stablecoin. Number 4, Tether, a token on Ethereum. Number 5, BNB, literally a fork of Ethereum.
A fork.
Yeah. Solana, a token on Ethereum. Doge, staked Ethereum. Tron, which is a fork of Ethereum. Cardano, which wishes it was Ethereum.
Exactly.
Number 12, wrapped staked Ethereum. 13, a token on Ethereum. 14, a beacon, wrapped beacon Ethereum. 15, tokenized Bitcoin on Ethereum. 16, stablecoin on Ethereum. 17, make your own Ethereum side chains. I don't know what figure is.
We don't get to a BTC
anyway.
fork till 22.
Yeah, exactly. Like crypto, what isn't is crypto. It's just Ethereum. Like it's Ethereum and stablecoins, you know, and the stablecoins live on Ethereum. and then there's a bunch of like schemes to like scam you out of your ETH. And that's
1000%. Yeah.
Anyway, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you figured that out. I'm glad after a couple of years, you know, you found the light.
Yeah, no. So like now, so I've been in Ethereum now for 5 years, messing around with it and just gone on the deep end. I still follow like Bitcoin news and technology and the L2s that are being built out there. I still mess around with those. I still think Bitcoin DeFi has a ton of potential that hasn't been fully tapped in all the way, and not like Celsius or any of these centralized versions of it. Like
Bitcoin DeFi. There is no Bitcoin DeFi. There is Ethereum L2s and EVM networks where people wrap Bitcoin and then do stuff on ETH. There's no Bitcoin DeFi. That doesn't exist because the DeFi needs more computation to like calculate how much money you're allowed to take out in a loan, and you can't write smart contracts like that on Bitcoin. You just can't.
Yeah, exactly. I think wrapping it is still, there's good versions of wrapping it, I would say, on Bitcoin, like better versions, you know, like like more trustless, less central versions of wrapping, which compared to just, I don't know, regular wrapping, I guess, or whatever other flavor of wrapping exists. So for anyone not familiar, I was going to say, for anyone not familiar, what are some of the features that you kind of took from V2 of Liquidy and also added like your own special flavor to it? I know you kind of hinted it a little bit, like there was some stuff that you wanted specifically on the Nerite dollar, and also I think you chose ARB as well as some kind of collateral. Yeah, just like what are those other things that you added, like the special sauce or flavor that you added?
So it's got everything that Liquidy V2 has, right? It has Lido ETH and Rocket Pool ETH as collateral. It has user set interest rates, so you can borrow at whatever rate that you decide at a minimum 0.5%. And then it has redemptions from whoever is paying the least amount, paying the lowest interest rate. And those are kind of like the core Liquidy features. And then we added a bunch of new collateral types. So you can borrow against some LRTs like EtherFi ETH or Kelp ETH, RS ETH. You can also borrow against ARB token because it's really Arbitrum native. And then we also added debt limits. So if you add new collaterals, you know, that increases risk for the system. So you have to add extra safety features. And we really, really care about safety and security more than anything. So we added a bunch of new safety features about making liquidations and borrowing more efficient so that it just like keeps the system healthy. Debt limits, for example, is one of those. And then let's see what else. And then the other really big one is streaming, right? And this idea of being able to send a stablecoin linearly over time. And I think that's something that can't really exist in TradFi. And I've always wanted to see in a stablecoin, but just haven't for whatever reason. So there's this other protocol called Superfluid, which is kind of an OG. They've been around for a long time, and they're like the money streaming protocol, where instead of sending you $5 on the first of a month for a subscription, I can send $5 linearly over the next month, and your balance just kind of ticks up continuously. You know, and I really have loved this idea for so many years, because I've always wished when I was working that I didn't get paid every 2 weeks, that I got paid every second that I was working.
Yeah.
Right. And I used to work, you know, normal W-2 9-to-5 job. And I always have felt like whenever I do that, or you do that, you're just giving your boss an interest-free loan on your labor, you know?
Yeah.
So why, you know, I just worked for you for 8 hours, but I don't get paid for 2 weeks. Like, you made money on my labor. Yep. So it's just not fair. And that whole system of like paychecks every 2 weeks, subscriptions on the first of the month instead of, a little bit over time, even your bank account, your bank account is making money for the bank continuously, right? The treasuries, that they're printing, they're making money on your money continuously, but they only compound your interest once a month with the average balance of your account, right? And if they compounded continuously, you would have more money, but they literally don't. That's stealing,
1000%. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, why is it like this? It literally doesn't have to be like this. You can, it doesn't have to be that bad. So it's just inefficiency, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
I just so you're aware, I've interviewed, so I used a tool called Alpha Friends, which was the tool that got me familiar with Superfluid. And once I learned about Superfluid, it was so hard to unsee. It's like there's certain technologies like in the last like 5-6 years that like once you see it, it's hard to unsee it. Like
it kills me.
Yeah, and Superfluid was one of the ones where I was like, it's the one example I give people that I'm like, this could only happen in crypto, like on crypto rails. Traditional finance people are like, that's insane. Like saying like it's cool. And then, like once you see it, I'm just like, dude, I need everything to be like this. Like, I don't understand why my internet can't be like this. I don't understand why my water can't be like this. Like
all of it.
My stock, I've left a company when I had been there for 11 months, like 2 weeks. So I was like 2 weeks shy of like hitting the vesting period, which I thought was freaking nuts. I'm like, I should still get 99, whatever that percentage is of my stock that I needed to get, especially after the 1 year period, just everything about it. And what I liked about something that that like resonated with me like pretty heavily was it's so weird to me that like Superfluid didn't like take off in this crazy trajectory where like everyone's implementing it left and right. Not to say that they're not successful, like for sure they're successful. I'm a delegate and I vote on their stuff. Like, I'm not saying they're not successful, but like, it's just nuts to me that it hasn't like proliferated at like
at
a certain speed.
Literally everything using Superfluid right now.
1000%. Like, that was my first thought.
There's a single thing that doesn't have Superfluid in it right now. It doesn't make
exactly. And I like the way that you said it in Fet's podcast, which was like the deep dive one where it's the wrapping. And I know it sounds so silly. It's like such a little simple thing. You're like, dude, you're just wrapping USDC. Like, how hard could it be? And when you said like, this is like the first time you can actually, one of the first times you can use it without wrapping, just like natively, it's like a stablecoin that just has it out of the box and it works. I was like, damn, that's it. I was like, that's what it is. Like, we need more Superfluid plugged in, where you're not wrapping it. You're not like wrapping BTC or anything. It's just like, it's just native like that. So like super boring, the DCA company, like they should support Nerite because
it's coming. We're working on it right now.
Okay.
It'll be live.
Just little things like that where I'm like, man, okay, I can see the edge that you have or that Neurite has, like the Neurite dollars. And now it has that power essentially. Just out of the box. Like it works.
So just for like context, if you want to stream USDC, you have to wrap it into Superfluid X USDC.
Mm-hmm.
And if you bring that to Uniswap and try to sell it, they'll be like, no, that's not USDC. That's a different token that we don't know about. Right. And so it breaks composability. Yeah. And the thing that makes DeFi really, really cool and useful and like why everyone loves it is because every ERC20 just works. Every token that I swap on Uniswap, it just works. I can just bring it over here and it just works with this. I can bring it over here and it just works with that. Right. And that composability is really crazy. Like people outside of crypto, it's impossible to even explain what composability means because they don't get it. It's just your money just works everywhere. You can do anything. You know, you can make a new currency in 5 seconds on your phone and then immediately bring it to a money market or a lending platform or an automatic market maker, and it just works. And it's like that entire concept, you know, doesn't exist outside of crypto. So you can't do that with Superfluid tokens. But Neurite has Superfluid built into it. So our token doesn't have wrapping. USND is our stablecoin. It's not wrapped. It just has streaming. It's just inside of it. And it works with everything. And it also has streaming. So it works exactly the same as any other token or any other stablecoin on Uniswap or Balancer, which is our primary liquidity hub right now. And all the other apps that you want it to work in, it just works. But you can also stream it. You can also pay a subscription. You can also, send money linearly, send salary. People that work for Neurite and like devs working on stuff, I stream them money. They're getting paid every millisecond, right? Their balance is just continuously going up, and it only takes one transaction to make a stream. I just say what wallet I want to send to and what's the flow rate. How much money per time do I want to send? Boom, done. One transaction. And the UX improvement of that is like really cool. And yeah, it's really one of the things that I think makes Neurite really like worth pursuing and why I felt that it needed to exist. And if you don't have a reason beyond stablecoins are hot and maybe I can make a bunch of money, don't launch a new stablecoin because it's a lot of liability. It's a lot of hardship. And it's just hard, it's not really worth doing unless you have like a really strong reason to do it. And the streaming, I think, is really something that I truly want to exist in the world. So I had to build it.
Yeah. And there's a reward too, right?
Oh yeah. Lots of rewards.
Yeah. Because I remember, for anyone that doesn't know, Superfluid's doing like incentives, like to build more apps, to build like completely new use cases, to integrate existing already like apps, and the community gets to vote on it, like be a snapshot. Yeah. And that's actually how I found out about Nerite. Actually, it was like I looked at all. Awesome. Yeah. I was voting, and I was like, what's this? And then I was like, all right, that's something now I need to go mess around with because it already has Superfluid like connected to it somehow.
Yeah. So everyone who's using Neurite right now, either borrowing USND by depositing in Neurite or supplying USND to our stability pools, which earn yield sustainably. 75% of all the borrowing fees goes to stability pool depositors, and they also earn 100% of liquidation fees and some other incentives as well. But everyone depositing there gets SUP from Superfluid, the SUP token, SUP. They get it every single day. So you can actually claim Superfluid rewards every day. And every time you claim, you're not claiming tokens. You're claiming a stream. And so more tokens get sent to you every day. So the more often you claim, your like stream gets bigger. And then you just get more tokens every day forever.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's insane.
So yeah, it's a great incentive to like use Neurite. And if you are like farming stable coins and you want exposure to like the future of Superfluid and this technology, it's a great, time to do that right now. And yeah, just, we're very grateful to the Superfluid community for voting to give us those ecosystem rewards. So we're just going to, keep building, keep integrating with more Superfluid apps and building this like streaming future that is just better.
Yeah. Agreed. So let's see. We're at the 38 mark.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I wanted to walk just so people could understand. So like you mentioned that you could set your own interest rates, which I think is like it's a unique feature, I would say. I know that it's from Liquidy and then maybe someone else has done it before, but can you walk me through like what are some of the trade-offs like right now? Like I know you're doing an ARB incentive. I hold $1,000 in ARB. And I want to deposit it. I own more, but yes, I've been loading up on it recently.
If you want to open up the app right now and do it live for everyone, I'll send you $1,000.
All right, let's do it. Here. Let's open it real quick. And that's nerite.org, which will
Nerite.
Yeah. Which is a slug, in case anyone didn't know.
No, it's a snail.
Snail, sorry. English is
Neurite snails are awesome. All right, go to the app. Borrow now.
Borrow now.
DM me your address. and I'll send you $1,000 in ARB right now.
Oh dang, man!
You've already got you've got an earn position. Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a little one that I did with just experiment with. Here, let me send this to you.
All right, cool. Got this. And, Arbitrum is so fast. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's the rabbit hole I'm in right now, is like messing around with Arb a lot more.
This is only going to take a second, right? I'm just going to come here. We're just going to do this live. And that's awesome. That's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll snip it just so you're aware. I'll snip it and make a shorter version. So if nobody wants to watch the whole thing, they could just watch this.
They have to watch the whole thing.
There you go.
I just sent you about $1,000 in ARB token. So on this page, so if you go to the dashboard where you just were, so you've got on the left, these are all the assets that you can borrow against, right?
Yeah.
And it says how much the debt limit is and what's the average interest rate that people are paying. Then you've got this earn, right? And those are the stability pools. So each collateral has its own stability pool that earns from the interest that people borrowing against that particular asset are paying.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it earns in USND, in stablecoins, and it's also earning super rewards, and it also gets ETH or Rocket Pool ETH or ARB token or TBTC. There's a lot of threshold users, which that's the T and TBTC is for threshold. There's a lot of those users on Neurite, which is awesome. We're super grateful and love to have them. And so the interest that they pay on this left side is going to everyone who deposits on the right and keeps the protocol safe. So you should have gotten that ARB by now. And it's super simple. So you can just go to borrow and choose ARB. Cool. You've got a couple thousand in there. That's looking good. That's more than I sent you. All right. And now
I have my own. That's why.
Yeah, great. So this is just, we're backing a loan by ARB and we're issuing new USND. So we even give you, it looks kind of like Uniswap, right? Like you just got like how much in, how much out, right? So you're putting in 4,200 ARB. How much USND do you want out? You've got a green, a yellow, and a red, depending on like what your risk is. So, just like hit that green or whatever you want. And boom, that's it. Like you can just go down and just borrow right there. You're going to pay a 10% interest rate, and you can just slide this slider left and right and decide how much you want to pay. And those little ticks on the interest rate slider, they're kind of small. I don't know if you can see it on the screen recording because it's like super wide.
Yeah, it's super tiny.
These little ticks are other people's positions. So somebody's paying at that interest rate. Right?
Yeah, I see someone's like a 1.
So you don't want to be the one who is paying the least. And if you want to manage your interest rate manually, you can, and set it wherever you want. You can set it to 0.05% and borrow for almost nothing, or you can just click manage and let one of our third-party manager partners like Summerstone manage it for you. And so your interest rate will be updated once a week, and it will just pay the lowest possible interest rate that you can get away with without any other additional risk. And that's it. So it's basically like one extra click, and now you can take out a loan, and it's going to charge you the first week of interest up front for safety, so that people aren't like going in and out of positions constantly and like arbitraging stuff. Yeah. And that's just like MEV protection for the protocol. And that's it. That's creating a loan, and you just selected your own interest rate. So this says you can borrow USND for 1% with no basically redemption risk and have it managed by Summerstone. That's not very much. 1% per year. I think that's quite a bit less than it costs to borrow stablecoins on Aave or, somewhere else.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's exactly it. Does this update like this I like the little indicators down here that it's like low risk liquidation. It made it easier for me like the first time I came in. Does this update this one here, even though it's managed?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I think, because there's only a few positions on ARB. So the algorithm is saying like, yeah, you're like the second lowest position. So Summerstone thinks you're safe, but the algorithm is like, yeah, I mean, one person gets redeemed and then you get redeemed. So that's really up to your risk profile. But redemptions are not even that bad, right? Because $1 of your debt gets paid back and $1 of your collateral gets withdrawn. So it just, lowers your exposure.
Yeah.
But there's no fee. You actually earn a small fee when somebody redeems against you. So it's not that scary. If your ETH exposure is like super important, pay 3.5% instead of 3%,
Yeah. Well,
and that's it.
Keep it going.
Approve ARB. I'm glad that worked. Doing things live in tech, especially in crypto.
Poor Mark.
And boom, you're up. Now you have this loan, and in your dashboard you have your earn position earning. How much is your earn position earning? 7-day APR 2.7%.
Yeah, I put it into the ARB one. That's why.
So, you can really arbitrage these, or go take your USND and provide liquidity somewhere else, or pay people with it through streaming, whatever you want to do, and the whole time, it's earning yield over here and the protocol is just, ticking along.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's pretty simple. I hate how complicated getting loans in TradFi is, and this interface I think is really simplifies it and is available to anyone in the world. So it's just, accessible, and those are the things that make DeFi great.
Yeah, and I think the two cool call outs to tell people too about your deployment that are kind of unique and cool in my opinion are, I could still vote, I believe, in Arbitrum DAO, right? And then I can trade the troves too, right? Like NFTs almost.
Yeah, so the trove and a loan position is called a trove in Liquidy. Mm-hmm. Those are tradable. It's actually an NFT. If you go look at your wallet on OpenSea, you'll go find it right now.
Yeah, I'll do that while you're explaining the other parts.
On Arbiscan or something. It probably doesn't look very good because it just it has a bunch of numbers on it. But yeah, you can trade that. So if there's ever not liquidity, or you don't have the money to pay back your loan, you can sell your entire loan. Right. So if you have $1,000 in debt and $2,000 in collateral, you should be able to sell that position for $1,000. Right.
Yeah.
And maybe if you sell at $999, somebody is willing to buy that because it's at a discount, and they'll pay back your loan. So what I want to do next is build a system that prevents liquidations by auto selling your loan. Yeah. See, it doesn't look very good.
It honestly doesn't look that bad, to be quite honest. I've seen worse.
So you've got your collateral, you've got your debt, and your interest rate, and who owns it. And so that's OpenSea. Yeah.
Yeah, this is OpenSea. No, I think it looks great, to be honest. I don't think it looks bad.
You can just send that to me. Just send me that NFT, and then I'm responsible for your debt, and I own your collateral, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to Uniswap v3, where you have NFT positions, right? And then the
ARB voting,
the ARB voting. Yeah. So all the ARB that gets deposited in Neurite gets delegated to Neurite DAO. So there's kind of this problem, I think, in governance tokens, especially L2 governance tokens, where you have to choose one or the other. You have to choose economic rights of your token, and you LP it, or you put it in a money market, or something else that earns yield, or you participate in governance and you delegate it to yourself or someone else, and your governance rights are used. And you have to basically choose one or the other, right? And I hate that trade-off. It's very inefficient, and it prevents value from accruing to the governance token. And it also kind of takes people's rights away to say, if your ARB is deposited in Aave, then you're not allowed to vote with it. The governance rights of that ARB cannot be used. If you deposit ARB or any other governance token in Uniswap, can't You cannot use the governance rights to that. I think that's just taking people's agency away. Yeah. Even like traditional stocks, right? Like I can vote in, in corporate governance if I own a stock in a Fortune 500 company, right? And also it's like in, it can be in market making, or it can be in, whatever other, you can be selling options, whatever, because they just say, oh, who owns it? Okay, you get to vote. Yeah. And somehow we lost the right to do that when we put these governance tokens on chain, just because of like extra technical hurdles of like Uniswap being able to handle vote tokens. And it's just inefficient. I didn't like it. So we built into the protocol, any governance tokens deposited can be delegated to our DAO. And then the DAO, which is, made up of the users, can vote in Arbitrum governance. And I think that's really cool because it gives people agency. You don't get to decide where your tokens are delegated when you deposit on Neurite, but the governance rights for your tokens are still being used, like to your benefit, right? Because if you're a Neurite user, you want more yield, you want more incentives, you want Arbitrum to be stable long term and have upgrades to the network that support Neurite and the other things that we're working on. So you're still benefiting from that directly, and you're not giving up your rights. We're actually using them. So personally, I think it's a massive improvement and a huge mistake that other protocols don't do this. And some people are upset about it, but I think it's great. So we're going to do it.
No, I think it's fantastic, man. It's actually, I've had that dilemma myself. The exact same one where you're like, do I participate in like DeFi or do I participate in the governance aspect of it? And I end up like, it's like silly, but I end up just splitting my bag in half. I'll be like, okay, I'll only do half the money in here, and then I'll keep half so I can still vote. And
it sucks, right?
Yeah, it does. I agree.
Sucks. Yeah, because you want to vote with everything that you own.
Yeah,
but you don't want to leave money on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now your voting power is being used, and you just borrowed $500 against it, and you can go yield farm with that, or buy more ARB, and then deposit it, and then borrow, and then buy more ARB, right?
Exactly.
And then borrow against that and buy ETH, and now you have ETH exposure, and you're participating in governance. And we can make the first like governance, like leveraged governance voting. Yeah, that'll be fun. Let's do that.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, some people are really into it, and other people told me that I'm attacking Arbitrum DAO, which I'm obviously not doing. I want Arbitrum DAO to succeed. Everybody knows that. So, but we'll see. It doesn't hurt us to have some spicy takes sometimes, and I think it's going to be very good. I would really like to see Neurite DAO, not myself, Neurite DAO, be one of the largest delegates and have a say, with the future of the chain, or at least be able to like input, some influence and like take our ecosystem and our community's input when Arbitrum DAO is making upgrades or choosing what to do next. It's sad to me that like a lot of the largest delegates on ARB, or just in general in like delegate style DAOs, are like people who are very good at posting on Twitter instead of people who like know how that technology works, or like understand what the thing they're signing is, or have built, protocols that need Arbitrum or that chain to survive. Like the success of Neurite is completely dependent on Arbitrum continuing to exist. So we're like very incentivized and aligned with the future of Arbitrum. I mean, look at the hat, I shouldn't have to reiterate this. So I'm going to stop rambling, but that's that. Yeah. I'm just very bullish on Arbitrum long term. So
yeah, I know for me, like I recently started going down that rabbit hole of Arbitrum DAO overall. And honestly, like
did my name come up?
It did actually. Yeah. They know that we're doing a podcast and everything. Your name came up. They've had nothing but good stuff to say about you. Yeah, no, they've been a super welcoming bunch. They're very supportive of like everyone doing everything in their ecosystem.
Truly.
I was actually pleasantly surprised. So I'm working on kind of like a RWA Arbitrum based thing. Didn't think that they would reach out to me, and they did. And I was just like, wow, didn't even know you guys were paying attention. So been bullish on the whole ARB rabbit hole that I've been going down. Definitely like it. Like ENS has been another one too that's been super supportive. Yeah, so the ARB ones, yeah. I want ARB to succeed as well, man. I agree with you. And the fact that you're still going to use it, all those like all the ARB that gets deposited, and it makes the voice of Nerite, because we want you to succeed as well. So like honestly, It's like the best of both worlds in my opinion. Like the user gets to still participate in DeFi, and you know, through the Nerite DAO gets their voice heard as well, you know? Like so everyone's aligned. So I think I hope more DAOs do that, to be honest. More DeFi protocols like
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I think GMX is the biggest one right now that is like a large delegate, and that's just like Arbitrum specifically, but it's the same across, you know, many ecosystems. Optimism, Scroll, you know, every ZK, Sync, basically everybody, right? We want the builders to have a voice, because the apps on the chain is what makes the chain valuable at all. So you really want the builders to be driving that train.
Yeah, agreed, 1000%. Being conscious of time, I will try and wrap it up soon. Let's see. I had a quick one. So going back to the immutable contracts aspect, do you feel limited or empowered by a kind of that immutability? Like, for example, the types of collateral that you can accept in Nerite, or is that empowering? Yeah. Or what are the benefits in your eyes?
It's a double-edged sword, right? So if there's a problem, we can't fix it. Neurite is immutable, but it also means we can never change the rules and rug the protocol. Yeah. It's just, it is how it is. And we cannot add new collateral types. We can change the debt limit and turn ones that are collaterals that we have off. So if there's ever an Oracle problem or bad debt, or, you know, a couple other situations, the protocol will basically automatically shut down that collateral, and it can never come back. So if our Oracle, we use API 3, which is super reliable, and then Chainlink as a backup. But if any of our like price feed Oracles ever go down, that collateral's just like can only be paid back. Those loans can only be paid back, and no new ones can ever be taken out again. And it can never be turned back on. So like that is actually a very strong incentive for us to get it right and to not have any major fuck ups.
Yeah.
And if everything can be turned on again later, you know, whatever, something bad goes wrong, you know, we'll just upgrade the contracts. I don't like that. I don't like, you know, the entire 2008 financial crisis being caused by loans that increase, you know, that are variable rate loans that, you know, increase after a certain amount of time, right? That's like basically what caused 2008, was like people had loans that were updating their interest rate because the rules were changing. They didn't understand what they were signing.
Yeah, exactly.
Liquidy, Neurite, other immutable protocols, the rules never change. Like what you see is like literally what you get, and it can never change. So I think that's better. I just think it's better.
Yeah, no, it's powerful stuff, to be honest.
It's limited. I mean, it is. Yeah. It's limiting us. You know, 2 years from now, maybe all of the tokens that we have as collateral don't exist, and there's new ones that are big, and we'll just launch something new. You know, we don't need to change the things that exist. We can still react to these like market changes with our debt limits and where we put incentives and stuff like that. But in terms of security, it's a smaller surface area to attack, and I just prefer it. It's a trade-off. There's good and bad, but that's, the calculation that we made.
Yeah, no, 1000%. Another question I wanted to ask you is, I saw a spirited debate on how come we don't have more decentralized like front ends for DeFi.
Because
I wanted to get your take on that, So like we have
people
immutable
who
contracts.
made those. Listen, okay. A lot of people have spent a lot of hours, a lot of engineering time making decentralized front ends, and you don't even use them. Okay, yeah. You use them once a year when something is going wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And Liquidy has like 6 different front ends. If there's ever something wrong with Neurite front end, maybe DeFi Saver, you'll be able to use that. Us spending a bunch of time making a decentralized IPFS front end that is going to load slow, that is going to be like one more thing to maintain. Oh, this file, can't be found, so the whole thing breaks. It's not like, it's such a waste of time. Yes, DNS sucks. Yes, I would like decentralized front ends. I would like every part of the stack to be decentralized. Yes, but I try to spend as little time as possible doing decentralization theater for products that people will never use. Because actually, I think that my life is very short and life is fleeting, and I want to spend as little time of it as possible doing stupid BS.
Yeah.
So,
this wasn't towards you, by the way, specifically.
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying
in
like general.
In general. Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time doing stuff like that, and it was all like for naught because no one cared. So now I don't do it, and I'm sorry if that's jaded or black-pilled, but it doesn't really matter that much. It really doesn't, especially when we're using Liquidy forks, and every single fork has basically the exact same interface. So it's very easy. All of our front end code is open source. It's on GitHub. I'm not going to, put it onto 10 different backup things. You can download it right now if you want, and that's important to you. And if there's someone out there who's like, no, Neurite needs a decentralized front end. Okay, please build it, and I will give you.
Just build it.
I will give you all the help that you want. Go for it. Knock yourself out. But no, it doesn't really matter to me, and I don't think it's as big of a selling point as people would like to believe, or that they tell themselves.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I wanted your take on that because I was like, I bet he has a spicy one, a response, because I see it on Twitter and I'm like, I don't know, like sometimes like I get very like decentralized maxi, and then other times I'm like, what are we doing though? Like, is it if the user experience is worse and everything? I was like, how are we going to convince people to use this
what's
thing?
The point?
Yeah, exactly.
Congrats! You built something that nobody uses. Was that a good use of your time? No.
Yeah. All right, I got 2 more, and one's really short, I promise. But this one is another spicy one. So
go for it.
You did an AMA on Reddit, which I'll link for people to check out as well.
Oh, thank you.
One of the comments that you said was, users lie about what they want.
That's true.
So I wanted to kind of get where your brain is at with running the recent snapshot that you did. So asking the community what it is that they favored. And this is the Nerite community. You posted a snapshot. You're like, hey, where do you think I should kind of focus, or where should Nerite focus? And it was like 5 choices. And the things that came back were connecting Nerite with existing DeFi apps, more integrations. That was like the front runner by a lot. It was like 49% or something like that. Yep. Yeah. So I just wanted to like understand your brain in terms of like, so I saw that comment and then I saw the snapshot and I was like,
oh, these are like, yeah.
They were like kind of conflicting a little bit,
They are. Yes. Okay.
A little bit.
When I was studying in school and when I was doing computer science and like starting entrepreneurial things, people constantly said, you got to talk to your customers. You just got to talk to your customers more and figure out what they want you to build. And don't build anything until you've done 100 user interviews and like this other like boomer stuff. And that is just that's just so wrong. And I have spent several years building things in crypto and otherwise, that when I show people, they say, yes, that's exactly what I want. Or yes, this is so cool. Or, you did this at the beginning of our interview, actually, where you said, I wish someone would build a non-dollar denominated stablecoin. And guess what? We did that and you didn't use it.
Correct.
And you didn't use it so hard. And everybody says that they want Reflexer. Everybody said, if you go post about Reflexer, every OG will say, yes, I love Reflexer. I definitely used Reflexer. And like most of them are lying. They never used it. And second, they don't even know that it's shutting down. I have had to literally argue with people on Twitter like 10 different times who are saying like, why don't you, do the Reflexer style? And I'm like, Reflexer is shutting down because no one used it.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, you don't even know. So specifically on Reddit, somebody said the question, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the question I was responding to was, what's the hardest pill to swallow for a developer in crypto? And it's the fact that people are going to tell you, I want a way to send money over cross-border. I want the UX. I want better cross-border UX payments. I want better UX for cross-border payments. Or I want a stablecoin that isn't US dollar dependent. Or I want lending, but I just want a vault where I can just put USDC and it just earns, and I don't have. People built all those things. Right. And I want a wallet that's like MetaMask, but does these other things. But then they don't use it when those apps exist. They just keep using MetaMask.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know. It's just a hard pill to swallow that when you're a builder and when you're an engineer and you're building new things, people are going to tell you what they think they want, but they're lying about what they actually are going to use. And the reality is, there are like 50,000 DeFi users, like total, and it's not that many people. Yes, talk to customers. Yes, get feedback. So the survey that we did about what should our devs focus on next, how did people vote? Like, how do you get votes for doing that? It's not just a poll on Twitter. It was a survey of people, and their voting power is Shell points, which is our loyalty rewards point system on Neurite, right? And our point system is way better than any other point system you've ever used because we just send tokens to your wallet. Instead of like having like made up numbers in a database, we just send tokens every day. And now that's composable, right? That's the cool part about DeFi. It's composable. So we just go on Snapshot, and everybody's tokens are already in their wallet and they can just vote on what should the devs work on next for Neurite. So that's not a survey to the public. That's a survey to our existing users who are already using Neurite, who have already put millions of dollars into Neurite. So that's who we want feedback from, because those are the people who actually matter. And someone who is never going to put $1 into Neurite or, create any value for us is going to say, build your stablecoin like this. And why would I listen to that person?
Yeah.
So that was probably a longer explanation than you were asking for.
No.
That's the reality.
That was perfect, man. No, it reminded me a lot of, I know you don't spend too much time on Farcaster, but Dan, the DWR, he says this all the time. So it very much reminded me of like what
he says. Users lie all the time.
Oh, all the time. It's hilarious. Yeah. People get so mad on Farcaster. They're always like Dan doesn't like listen to us. He doesn't like our feelings, and he's just like, say it's the exact same things you're saying. Like, people are like, oh, I want like a decentralized way to sign in and like blah blah blah, and literally it's like Privy, sign in with your freaking Gmail. Text me a number, like,
dude. This is what killed me on Farcaster. I signed up. I was one of the first people to use Farcaster, and I was like, "Oh, there's going to be all these different clients. It's going to be so decentralized." So I made my account on Farcaster using the smart contracts directly.
Yeah.
And then I used a third-party app because I didn't want to connect my credit card to my actual wallet that I used to sign up. And now I cannot get into that app for the life of me. And the third-party thing that I used to create the username doesn't exist anymore. So I guess that's a point in favor of decentralized front end. But yeah, I am locked out of my Farcaster account, like hard locked. Like I have the control over the account, but like there's no account on like the actual Farcaster app. Like there's no email,
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, I sent them an email about that, but whatever.
You wanna?
I love Farcaster. I want to get on it again.
Okay. But, yeah, I posted on there right before we went live. So if you want, I'll shoot them a message saying, "Hey, we need you on here, man." I feel like you'd be a great voice on there.
Hell yeah! And whatever Dan says about customers lying or users lying, he's right. I don't know what he said, but whatever he says, he's right.
I'll send you some. I'll send you some cast that he said. It's freaking hilarious. He does it like almost like every 3 months. He'll just like randomly post that. He's like, "You guys are all lying." Like,
yeah. I mean, he's definitely right.
Yes, it just gave me that.
He knows what to do.
Yeah, so it's just hilarious. I thought maybe initially you were like, "Hey, like I'm just using this as like a signal, but not necessarily like that's what I'm action because signal, like it's data, like you're like okay." Yep. But I do like the fact that you were saying like, yeah, you didn't post this on Twitter because you would have gone, who the hell knows what from Twitter? Probably build a perp dex. That's probably would have been the answer. Launch another stablecoin, a second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was that one. And then the last one. This is like super hard one, but I've asked everyone this since day one. What's your favorite snack?
What's my favorite what?
Your favorite snack.
My favorite snack?
Not a meal.
Probably cherry tomatoes from my garden.
Damn.
I have like a big front yard garden. The Washington Post wrote an article about it last year, but basically, and next to my front door is like a massive cherry tomato plant. It's like 6 feet tall or something, and I just like grab cherry tomatoes every time I walk out the door, like all summer. So that's great. Every time I go for a walk somewhere, going to the coffee shop where I just like grab a handful of tomatoes and just eat them as I walk around town in my giant Arbitrum hat.
I love it. the visual. You're just like wearing it. You're like, I'm going to the coffee shop, just popping cherry tomatoes into your mouth.
Exactly. That's my life. It's great.
That's a great life, man. Yeah, so that's it, man. Thank you. I appreciate again your time. Definitely everyone check out Nerite.org. We now have a video on how to take on a loan if you want to do it. I'll probably deposit some. I'll do the full loop and deposit it, and people could see the full experience. I know you're having a 1 week Arbitrum incentive specifically. So I'll have this posted pretty soon so people could check it out. It's from the 23rd to the 30th, I believe, end of the month.
That's right.
And then regardless,
Arbitrum week.
Arbitrum week. There you go, guys. And then regardless, you still get the SUP protocol incentive.
Every day.
And you get to support a cool app in my opinion. So definitely check it out. Nerite.org. We'll have the links, everything below. Thanks again for your time.